Hi and welcome to a new episode of the Photographer's Minimalist. Perhaps you noticed there's someone missing. Well, actually he's behind the camera. He doesn't want to be in the picture today. So we're going to talk about the Contax family cameras, and especially the Contax 2 and the Contax 3. And a tiny bit part of, that's not the, sorry.
Cut!
We're going to talk about the Contax family cameras, especially the Contax 2 and the Contax 3, and how that came about. But first, I'm going to tell a little story about how I came about the Contax camera. Well, there was in the early 90s, I think it was 1992, I'm not sure. Then I bought on the black market a Kiev 2, and I took some pictures with it just for fun. I bought it for like 25 guilders, I think. And I took some pictures of an old boat that was moored in the river here in Haarlem. And after a while, when I took the negatives to the darkroom and I printed the pictures, I was flabbergasted about the quality of the lens. And that made me decide to restore the camera. So I took it apart and I never get it back together again. So that ended up in a drawer. And like this, that ended up in a drawer, never to be used again. And frankly, I forgot about the camera up until quite recently. And the Kiev camera became some kind of Eleanor for me, as in gone in 60 seconds, because every time I bought a Kiev, it was broken, or I didn't even make it through a half a roll of film before it broke down. So eventually I bought this one, and that stayed in one piece. And I took pictures with it, and I was again flabbergasted about the quality of the lenses. And after a while, I thought, well, now I want to have the real thing. Especially after making the video with Henk about the Kiev cameras. Now I want to have a Contax camera, and well, I bid on this one at an auction. But what is your story about the Kiev camera or the Contax?
I got into the Contax because of reenactment.
Okay.
Well, as you saw in the introduction movie, there was me in the picture, dressed up as a GI, Second World War, etc. And when I got into the community of reenactment guys, I didn't want to end up running on beaches, holding a gun and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I am a photographer, so I thought, hey, let's run across that beach, but now with a camera. And of course, it had to be a contemporary camera. And of course, at first I thought there should be a Leica 3 or a Leica 3A. But they were pricey and rather vulnerable because, well, it's all those little buttons and pieces on it. So I thought, well, that's better not to use. And of course, that stupid system of a viewfinder and a rangefinder. Now that's hideous.
Yeah, that's a drag, yeah.
And I noticed Robert Kappa had a Contax 2. As a matter of fact, he had two. So I started thinking, well,
So
maybe a
Contax
Contax 2.
4. Never to be seen again.
But of course, those cameras were also a bit pricey. And then I find out that the Kiev cameras were descendants of the Contaxes. So I thought, well, let's get a Kiev camera.
Okay. So
So they look pretty similar.
was your first camera, was that already a Kiev in disguise with full Contax clothing?
It was.
Oh, okay. So that was
It
your
was.
first Kiev?
Yeah.
To be, okay.
No, so like
This one? Yeah.
but
I've got the corpse.
not this one.
I've got the corpse still over there. It is diseased.
Yeah, so that got me into Kiev, and well, as you say, the lenses are
Immaculate.
brilliant.
Yeah. These are absolutely stunning.
No,
And I think compared to modern lenses, they still stand up the test of time because
Oh, yes.
even with the 105, that's this one, right? That's yours? It's the
1.5, yes.
1.5, or the 2.0. If you compare them to contemporary lenses, and if you compare them to, for instance, Leica from the 30s,
Give me a sonar anytime.
absolutely, yeah, hands down.
No,
Although the Leica lenses from that age has some sort of an urban legend because of the Leica glow, and I'm sorry if I embarrass somebody, but
likely.
the Leica glow is actually a defect. Because the Leica glow is nothing more or nothing less than some haze in Leica glass, which is very common. And to be honest, the Carl Zeiss lenses rarely suffer from haze or fungus. They always have that crisp, contrasty, sharp look, and even on modern color film, because I think we have to make sure that when the Contax 1 arrived, all the lenses were already in situ. So the Sonar 2.0 was already there, the 1.5 was already there,
Yeah,
the 85,
No, the
8.5 centimeters, yes, and
35.
the 135, the long one, this one.
Yeah,
Was all-
35 millimeter, the 28.
Yeah, this is that's nice because this lens is actually from 1932. This is meant for the Contax 1, which we usually don't talk about because the Contax 1 was a bit
And
of,
rightfully so.
yeah, it was a bit of a mistake. But they
Well,
make,
it was good for starters, but
yeah,
well,
it didn't work out. There's even somewhere in the documents here, you can see that, yeah, here we are. They lined up next to each other because this is the Contax 1, this is the Contax 2, and this is the Contax 3. But they had so much stock from that stupid Contax 1 that they had to, suffer for a bit to sell that thing, so that they could end up with the Contax 2 and the Contax 3.
well, it was of course an excellent study ground, and after that it came with the 2 and the 3, and they were absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and a couple of things were migrated from the Contax 1 to the Contax 2 and the 3, of course, because I think this glass element
It was
for
already
the
there.
and
Yeah.
I need to talk about this because this is really brilliant. We all know that with Leica, even with M3, M4, M5, up until the Leica M67, there is this problem that if you drop the camera or you hit it, that the rangefinder can get out of alignment. So then it's slightly higher, or it just misaligns on infinity, and that's not even possible with the Contax invention, because this is a one solid glass piece, and the whole patch of the rangefinder is incorporated in this body of glass. So even if it's not in the camera and you look through it, you can see the patch, and the only thing Contax did to make it a rangefinder was, and I can show that here, on this leftover, that's this little piece. And they put a cylindrical piece of glass in it, and if you focus, that shifts. And that's the way it finds its alignment for the subject you have. And no matter how hard you drop the camera, this will never get out of alignment. Obviously, this can break if you drop it very hard, but that hardly ever, because it's all in
And even
felt.
that is repairable.
It's repairable, yeah.
No.
I did. Because
I know.
because I dropped my 3. And that caused the viewfinder to black out. And the glass part over here was separated. And it's glued with Canadian balsam.
No.
And you can reflow it if you put it in an oven. So I put it in an oven for like 80 minutes by 110 degrees centigrade. And then I took it out of the oven and very carefully let it cool down. And to my amazement, and it's back in the camera again, it was completely repaired. And that was the only thing I had to do, was put it in the oven. That was nice.
Together with the cake.
Together, well, slow cooking cake. Slow cooking cake. Well then, and then you became somewhat of a hoarder, because
Well, yes.
most of the cameras over here are yours.
Well,
Yeah, well, yeah,
half
you
of
could-
it.
you got 3, right?
I've got 3, yes.
Yeah,
The Contax 2,
yeah,
the Kiev 2A Contax,
in disguise.
and the Kiev 4A.
And what are the differences between the 2A and the 4A? I keep forgetting. It's something to do with the flash.
That's the most important part indeed. The 4A has got the flash synchron over there, and the 2A, or the 2, doesn't have that.
So
the
that's
2A, however, it does have.
yeah. That's
synchro, but, well,
that's quite
never mind.
confusing sometimes.
And well, what are the differences? They are mainly optical, so to speak, because the difference is mainly in the upper part, like the rewind button here
Okay.
and rewind button there.
And then the first Kievs, they came with the little feet, right?
Yeah, correct.
And
To make it stand out and not
Yeah,
keel
because-
over with the lens.
no,
Yeah.
because that's something that Carl's eyes would have, like this.
Yeah, it's
No, you can't do it.
hideous.
Okay.
So yeah, that's about it. And of course the 2.0 lens, 2.0 lens, and the 1.5 lens. And there is an 8.5 centimeter
It's
somewhere.
yeah. That was a silly. That's a silly story because of the 8.5 centimeter lens. It's a 2.0, right?
It is.
It is a sonar, but somewhere in the Ukraine
They did something with it.
they did something finicky with it, because what happened, the lens wouldn't fit on the cameras, and the reason why was that someone tried to make an M39 fitting on it.
Yeah, there was some metal stuff in it.
But it wouldn't fit on an M39. And it wouldn't fit on a Contax anymore, so I haven't got a clue why they did that. But
No.
there's this strange spring phenomenon to mount the lens like this, and there's a spring in the camera, of in the lens. And if you dismantle this, that spring that will release. It will jump to
And
your
it did.
and it did, and it's almost
Yep.
impossible to get that spring back again. So as soon as I've got that back again, then we know whether it works right, yes or no. But
No.
it's a pain in the butt. I haven't got my glasses. Here we go. Oh hell! Here we go. Okay, good.
So yes.
Yeah.